Please tie down your aeroplanes, clean up your premises, stow any loose materials and ground service equipment. But I'll just show you a few slides from Cyclone Marcus, which most of us experienced on the 17th of March this year. That's my street. And that was the scene all over Darwin. Also on Darwin Aerodrome, we had 500 trees down on the aerodrome itself. That's my driveway. That was a great coconut tree. The toll freight 737-400 parked on Bay 25. It's parked there every weekend, as it was. Cyclone Marcus was a Saturday. I know one of the captains who lives in Brisbane. He called me about 9 o'clock that Saturday morning when this cyclone was brewing, and of course we do have a cyclone plan and we had made preparations, but he calls me and he says, I'm just watching the 9 News. He said, I'm a bit worried about that aeroplane up there. He said, it's not much fuel on it and I don't know if there's any ballast. And we had a discussion and I said, oh, it should be right, Bruce. It weighs 40 tonnes empty. All right, I'll tell you what Bob Calaby said, it should be right. And you can see there it's spun through 180 degrees. It had the tail prop in place. We think that it sat on the tail prop and jumped its chocks and then rolled forward. But the gusts from Marcus Harry, 130 kilometres on airport. And at that time when that was occurring, we've got some CCT vision of that, as we do over the entire aerodrome, so we don't miss too much. We saw a number of individuals in the northern GA attempting to tie down aircraft in 130 kilometre winds, so we don't want to see a repetition of that. So I say again, message is get your aeroplanes tied down early. The Fokker didn't move. I think the 737's got a big vertical fin and the winds were from the east, Harry, in Marcus. And yeah, pushed it around from the east. There you can see it spun around. You can see the nose wheel is on a 90-degree angle. There are engineers based in Darwin with their work, and they assessed and tested the airplane, and it was fine, fortunately. And my mate Bruce flew it out on the Monday. There's some of the other damage we saw on airport. The shade sails over the taxi rank. Our Bowsers just airside of the tower lost all their covers. The Aviation Institute, which was nestled amongst those big beautiful African mahoganies, is now denuded. We just have to give it a coat of paint because it stands out. But all those trees came down. Just some of the clean-up around the Aviation Institute. This aeroplane, 146 freighter, it was at Pearl Flight Centre. It was 180 degrees different to where it is there now. And you can see it's also rolled off the apron. Similar effect from the wind. Now, airline aircraft wouldn't normally be here. And Air Work, I don't think, if there's a cyclone looming, they would leave the aeroplane here. That one unfortunately got clipped by another aircraft about a week before that and required some repairs, so that shouldn't have been here either. Message is, please tie down your airplanes, we'll get out some information to you.
Hey Bob, can you explain to these guys the thunderstorm alert that goes off in the civil terminal and how the ground crew don't come out, so we can't taxi guys in and out, they'll sit there and block it up a bit?
Okay, thanks. There's a warning system. It's actually owned by Qantas, it's not DIA's, and you'll see the 5 and 10 nautical mile warning lights. It's at the RPT apron. I think the GA refueler has a version, and there's a 10 nautical mile warning. At the 5, the ground crew abandoned ship. They won't service the aircraft. Although Qantas now have a procedure where they can set up the nosing guidance, so at least they can park the aeroplane. But yeah, as I say, it's owned by Qantas primarily for their benefit. We issue the information as an advisory only.